It has already been said that T.S. Eliot was a voracious reader, was an omnivorous reader, right from childhood. The enormous reading of Eliot is reflected in a detailed manner in The Wasteland. When it came to anthropology, when it came to mythology, when it came to folklore, Eliot was profoundly influenced by two books. He himself has admitted this. The first of these is The Golden Bough by the Scottish anthropologist James Fraser, James George Fraser. The Golden Bough was published in 1890 and repeatedly expanded, revised, and republished. The Golden Bough is a sort of encyclopedia of anthropology. In the book, Fraser tries to identify common items in common anthropological items in the various cultures of the world. He tries to locate shared anthropological elements in magic, in religion, and in science. He is able to establish a common link connecting primitive magic, ancient religion, and modern science. Eliot made excellent use of the material that he obtained from the Golden Bough in the Wasteland, and he openly acknowledged his debt to Fraser. The second book that influenced T.S. Eliot deeply was From Ritual to Romance by the English folklorist Jessie Weston. From Ritual to Romance was published in 1920, and Jessie Weston herself had been influenced by and inspired by the Golden Bough. From Ritual to Romance is an attempt to analyze and evaluate the legends surrounding King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. The main focus of the study is the famous legend of the Holy Grail. Jessie Weston attempts to establish connections between items in pagan culture and elements in Christian civilization. Eliot openly admitted the influence of From Ritual to Romance on the Wasteland. If you have to discuss the use of myth in the Wasteland, you have to make it a point to mention the Golden Bough of James Fraser and From Ritual to Romance of Jessie Weston. No study of Eliot's use of myth in the Wasteland would be complete without speaking of these two seminal books. Let us take a look at the most important myths that are used in the Wasteland. This is not a comprehensive discussion. I know that there are quite a few myths, but what I shall attempt to do now is to locate the 5 most important myths that are woven into the fabric of the wasteland. The first of these is the myth of the Fisher King. The Fisher King is a prince, is a ruler. He rules over a country which is the geographical, the political, and the demographic representation of himself. The Fisher King is a physical wreck. He's maimed, he's impotent, and the state of the body of the Fisher King is closely reflected in the land that he rules. The land is dry and barren. It is devastated by want and famine. The second of these is the myth of the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail is the cup or the platter or the plate used by Jesus during the Last Supper. The same cup was used to collect the blood that rushed out of the body of Jesus when the Son of God was crucified. The cup was kept along with the lance or the spear that had been used to pierce the body of Jesus during crucifixion. Somehow, the cup and the spear disappeared mysteriously. During the Middle Ages, valiant knights, including the knights of the Arthurian Round Table, would set out on missions to search for the Holy Grail, to recover the Holy Grail. Some commentators believe that the lance stands for the male principle and that the cup stands for the female principle. The third myth is the myth of Tiresias. Tiresias is the central figure in the wasteland. He is an eternal presence in the poem. He has foresight, but he does not have sight. He is bisexual. He is the blind prophet. He is the connecting link between the Fisher King and Oedipus. This brings me to the fourth myth, the myth of Oedipus. In psychology, Oedipus complex is mother fixation. My students say that I suffer from an Oedipus complex. I don't know. Oedipus unwittingly kills his father and marries his mother, bringing the curse of the gods on his head. Not merely on his head, but also on his kingdom, which is devastated by plague. All this is beyond the comprehension of Oedipus, who summons Tiresias in order to secure an explanation. Tiresias reveals the shocking truths to Oedipus. The last important myth is the myth of the biblical wasteland. This wasteland is mentioned in the Old Testament, in the books of Ecclesiastes and Ezekiel. This is an evil land, and this wasteland, this physical wasteland, is closely related to religious impiety and moral degradation and ethical decay and sexual perversion. What do these myths convey? I simply don't have the space here to identify every single thing that the myths convey. That would require an entire doctoral dissertation. But I would like to state that the myths are objective correlatives for the state of Western civilization around 1921, as Eliot found it. What Eliot found, what Eliot met with, was the rise of technology, the decline of human values, the fall of religion, moral degeneration, sexual perversion, social disorder, economic collapse, incessant fragmentation. In short, what Eliot saw was the wasteland.